we can do more for them.
Absolutely.
They are not as recognized as an art form. And two of them came when I was there and performed at home. Home meaning in our drawing room, a little space. It was just lovely, the way they danced and they sang, and they're really storytellers.
Absolutely.
It was just beautiful. So we need to support everything that they had. Like earlier I said, puppets, dancing, then baul, and all that existed.
And you have that expectation from UNESCO that now that it's been
I
declared,
suppose
yes.
so. Yes, I do. I do most certainly.
Welcome to our show, Clarity Amidst Clutter. It is CNN News 18's podcast, and I'm the host, Riya Kundu. And today we have this brilliant guest with us, as you can see, Sharmila Tagore. She's a legendary actress, a veteran actress in herself. But today we are discussing something very different, more from her roots, from where she comes, the Thakur Poribar. So, Sharmila ji, firstly, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank
How
you.
are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
So, well, Santiniketan has now been declared as the 41st World Heritage Site of UNESCO from India. Quite a big moment for all of us Bengalis and definitely for the Thakur Poribar. How did you feel? What was the feeling like when it first got declared?
Well, whatever UNESCO has taken under their wing, it has really done well. So we were obviously very, very happy about it. But there's just one request to UNESCO. While they look after the university, which is of course very welcome and much needed, but also the ecosystem that made Santiniketan possible, and how Tagore was inspired by the ecosystem of Birbhum and Birbhum's culture. You know how the Santals make the brooms out of the, the grass, but
yes.
like that, and their jewelry, their many other things, and of course, they have these wooden little artifacts, and then the puppets made, from wood, and the dancing and the baul, the wandering singers. So all that needs to be looked at, and we expect UNESCO to look after that also.
Keep up to that promise. Yes, that they will take care of
because
it definitely.
that ecosystem needs to survive also.
Absolutely. So coming to the fact that you have a relationship with Santiniketan as a part of the Thakur family, but even as a Bengali, what would you say was your first stay towards this particular declaration of the site?
Well, Santiniketan is in our system. With Rabindranath Tagore, as a toddler or in your mother's womb, we were introduced to Rabindranath Tagore, the poems of Tagore, and his presence. The stories. He traveled all over the world. I think more than 137 countries or something. And wherever he went, he brought something back to. Santiniketan was his life, So he brought back batik from Indonesia. Then he brought dance forms from Sri Lanka, and various other things like that. He wanted to bring Russian ballet, but he couldn't. There he failed. Then he built 5 houses in Santiniketan, and each with a distinct architectural form. So, he was, and the music, the all land sign of Ireland became Purano Shei Diner Katha, Phulbi Ki Rehai, then Phule Phule Dole Dole, which again came from Ireland. Then it was last we heard was in Parinita in Hindi. So it had so many reincarnations. So I'm saying that his influence is so overwhelming in Bengali household, and obviously particularly in the Thakur Bari. So obviously it was there, and we've just grown up with that.
Yes. Now, if we come to the Vishwa Bharati University there, uh, it's been established at a time when people were more towards skilled education, and Vishwa Bharati itself has been that pillar of support. It would welcome students from across the world with regards to pursue whatever you excel in. It would give that cultural support, it would give that support out to students. And today, after this declaration, how do you think Vishwa Bharati has stayed relevant for this long?
His idea, what he wanted to do with education was learning without boundaries and curiosity over competitiveness. So these were the two things basically, and then of course nature. All the classes were held outside, you know, and now sometimes the visitors disturb the students when they're having a class. So again, if UNESCO has a limited time, I think the school finishes, at least the young people's school finishes around 2 o'clock, or maybe sort of 4 to 6, or a slotted time
For the tourists.
with fees and a guided tour. That would be so much nicer if they can introduce that. So we are expecting a lot from UNESCO to do, but that was his vision of education, that without pressure. Even Amartya Sen writes about it.
Absolutely.
So I think that is what Santiniketan, and the tradition still continues. There are 11 departments. You know, there's got this Kala Bhavan, Vidya Bhavan, Shiksha Bhavan, many other bhavans, but they also overlap. It's not just departmental, that you will only study there. But if something is needed from elsewhere, then it overlaps. You can go anywhere and learn. So there is no restriction to your learning. If you're curious, if you really want to go out and learn, you do. So that is the attitude towards education that Tagore wanted in a student. When Vinod Bihari came, he had always, he was not blind, but his eyes were still affected. And Nandalal Bose was really worried about that. But then Tagore said, it doesn't really matter. If he has the intensity and he's really trying, then you must encourage him, you know. And he wasn't wrong.
That's quite a difficult thing to do, given the time it was established,
So that is what, he was very accepting of a mind that is growing. He wanted that.
Right.
You know, chitto jetha bhoy shunno, uccho jetha shi.
Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful way to put that. You, as a part of the Thakur family, you've also been a part of Santiniketan. Would you like to share some of your fond memories from the place?
You know, my family is still there. Lot of cousins and one aunt. My youngest uncle's widow is still there. In fact, we just went recently as a family, and they were there. And my cousin Minku has, they've got a few bedroom place to stay, Amoli. It's just heaven. It's beautiful.
I actually know Amoli.
So we went and stayed there, and she, of course, has lived most of her life, and Kakima has also stayed there.
Right.
So they know Santiniketan very well. I was there many years ago, so I went now and went around, and it was so lovely to get back. Of course, there are lots of changes, and but still some families are there, and it was like coming home. You know, Kakima cooked delicious meals,
Right.
and you know, the Thakur Barir Khabar, you know, which is not
Absolutely.
with spice or, you know, it was just so tasty.
That's lovely. And so, as you mentioned changes for that matter, I would like to circle back to that. And Santiniketan has grown, definitely, for sure. But there have also been a lot of changes, even culturally, if we see. Like you said, tourists go there. So, in these changes, do you think there's something specific that you've noticed which has impacted the place quite a bit? And how do you feel about it?
Once upon a time, Santiniketan, it was a place without fences. Nobody had any walls, and everybody knew everybody. And there was no vehicles. Cycle was the preferred way of, otherwise you walked everywhere. And you always visited. If somebody, somebody's house was on the way, you were not just focused on your work, you always called on them and took something from your garden, either flowers or fruit or whatever. So it was just a beautiful place. So all that has gone. There's lots of people and cars galore. Right, I think 79 or 80, the VC had an ambassador. And before that, I think somebody had an Austin. These were the two cars. And that's it. So you can imagine now on the narrow roads. So that has changed. And of course, a lot of construction. So that I found quite heartbreaking, really. Instead of just in one place, if they can just expand a little bit and maintain that peaceful quality of Santiniketan that was, that's one change. And then you don't see the Shautals anymore.
Absolutely.
And they used to be traditionally, collecting all those dry leaves. And when I went this time, the campus was full of dry leaves everywhere. And I was just wondering if somebody accidentally drops a lit match or something, what would happen? So I'm not saying, of course, Shantals have got very good jobs now and they've moved on, as they should. And bowls are no longer dancing free for anybody. So, but we can do more for them.
Absolutely.
They are not as recognized as an art form. And two of them came when I was there and performed at home. Home meaning in our drawing room, a little space. It was just lovely, the way they danced and they sang. And they're really storytellers.
Absolutely.
It was just beautiful. So we need to support everything that they had. Like earlier I said, puppets, dancing, then bowl, and all that existed.
And you have that expectation from UNESCO that now that it's been
I
declared,
suppose so. Yes, I do. I do most certainly. And most certainly, they should do something about the museums and have more technical backups like scanning codes. So you can, when you take a picture, you know the history of that.
Right.
So that sort of thing, if they can introduce, it will be so much better. The museum really needs their intervention and to sort it out. Everything is there to make it more so that people who are coming, who know nothing about Tagore or Santiniketan or the concept or the idea behind it, when they leave, they're better informed.
Make it more comprehensible for them as well to understand the entire journey Santiniketan has been through, for that matter. So another aspect that's played into these changes in Santiniketan is also the politics that's played around Santiniketan, be it Vishwabharati or even after this World Heritage Site declaration came out for Santiniketan. Do you think somehow it is the politics that's also led to maybe development of Santiniketan at a pace which it would have taken place, but then it's not? It's restricted the growth.
You may be right there. I don't know. But it's not always easy to break through, because Delhi is quite far from Santiniketan. And unless you're there and you actually sense what's going on and feel what's going on and be there, or you have somebody who loves Santiniketan as a perfect emissary who can take the issue of what Santiniketan is facing to the center, to Delhi. And then, so I would say that's the only way to go forward because, as you mentioned, politics, but it's not always easy to break through, to be heard, to be, So there is that little gap where things happen, negative things happen, which stops growth, stops a positive atmosphere. So obviously that nobody wants it. But the idea is a closer contact and closer positive interaction. And again, I hope, UNESCO would be there and would make things, communication better, improve that, yes.
Absolutely. I think there is a lot for UNESCO to do there,
yes.
for sure, for Santiniketan. And well, if I've moved the focus to family, how much of Santiniketan's legacy have you passed down to both Saif and Soha? And do you want to continue that?
I have another daughter
tradition?
called Saba.
Yes, Sabha as well.
Yeah.
And what about your grandchildren? How much of it do you want to share with them?
It's a matter of choices, really. Like you don't have to go to my grandchildren, but my sister can't read or write Bengali. So it is, there's so much happening in one's life that when we stayed in Kolkata, we were very close to Santiniketan. Our grandparents were alive. So we were more integrated with the ethos of Santiniketan. But now everybody living elsewhere, and I went to a Bengali medium school, but others are, English medium or whatever else. So it is a matter of choice. There are, some cousins' grandchildren who are living abroad, can read and write and know everything about Tagore. Somebody living in Santiniketan
may not know
it, So it is, obviously we would all, it's our cultural heritage, and I most certainly want the children to be introduced to that. But sometimes, life takes you all over the place. But yes, I think the grandkids still have hope. So, granddaughter, like I've got two granddaughters, Sarah and Inaya. And they would be probably easier to tackle, and be more interested.
Have they ever been?
Sarah most certainly would be interested to
going to
go there. Like she recently said, I'm the only grandparent that she has, so I can most certainly convince her.
Have they ever been that side? None
not
of them?
So far.
Not so far. But we're looking forward to it for sure.
Yes.
And with that, I think you mentioned some lovely memories you've had with your family. What about the celebration after this declaration came out, this announcement which came out during September? Did you all meet together or have a chat about it?
No, we were very happy. We all knew. We spoke to each other on the phone because, again, as you know, we don't all live in the same place.
Right.
My Kakima and Minku and family, Alok and all of them are visiting me in February here. Middle of February they're coming. I'm looking forward to that, to learn some cooking from Kakima. Maybe she can teach something, some Bengali food to my cook. So, but we cheered and we spoke to everyone we knew and instantly made a lot of lists for UNESCO, what we want them to do.
I think that's a fair ask
Absolutely
for the Tagore Paribar. And I've seen that you've always been very vocally supportive with regards to anything that comes out.
And education is very important. And today's competitive times, when only the very bright sort of goes up very quickly and then the others are struggling. And today's world appreciates not just engineers and doctors or lawyers.
It's not just
there are other vocations. If you're a guitar player, you're earning a fair amount or anything. You can do lots of things.
More focus on
more
vocations
opportunities.
as well, yes.
Absolutely, more opportunity, and the world recognizes other talents. So yeah.
As we've come to a conclusion to the conversation, I think our audience would be extremely happy if you do a short recital for them.
Well, talking specifically about Santiniketan and what all there is to see. Perhaps I can read something, but I'm going to read from because I can't remember.
Absolutely.
Okay? It just makes you think that what is sometimes under your eyes and you take it for granted and you don't really notice it. বহু দিন ধরে বহু ক্রোশ দূরে বহু ব্যয় করি বহু দেশ ঘুরে দেখিতে গিয়েছি পর্বতমালা দেখিতে গিয়েছি সিন্ধু. You know what it means, na? So I've gone all over to look at oceans and mountains and everything. দেখা হয় নাই চক্ষু মেলিয়া ঘর হতে শুধু দুই পা ফেলিয়া একটি ধানের শীষের উপরে একটি শিশির বিন্দু.
Beautiful.
Isn't that
Beautiful.
wonderful?
It makes you think,
Makes you
definitely.
think that,
Absolutely.
you've been all over the place, and something that is so
close.
important and relevant and comforting and your own, very own, and you haven't
Paid
bothered
attention
to
to
see
it.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Sharmila ji, thank you so much for the recipe
Thank you.
recital,
Not
for
at all.
having this conversation with us. It's very special, especially as a Bengali myself. I also feel the pride. I join you in the pride, but definitely a member from the Thakur Paribar. Always a
Thank you.
lovely conversation to
Thank
have with
you.
you. And with that, we've come to an end to this episode of Clarity Amidst Clutter. That was Sharmila Tagore joining us on one of our episodes for CNN News 18. Thank you. Till the next time, stay tuned.